All right. What is up? Six of Cups, you don't know. What you mean you don't know? Or maybe you're feeling really intense feelings for someone that you had, someone that you used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Hopefully I don't get copywritten striked for that. But, it is what it is. It's just like a little snippet. But anyway, Nine of Wands is the underlying energy. Why? Because of the Knight of Swords. Okay. What did this Knight of Swords person do or say? It caused a lot of doubt. It caused a lot of panic. A lot of dis-ease. Which ultimately comes up with the Nine of Wands. Somebody said something or did something real aggressive. Or somebody was nervous about something. The Nine of Swords was there. So there was definitely a little bit of anxiety about something. And this person no longer hesitated. I think because they were so anxious, they were like, okay, I gotta have this. I gotta make this happen now. And that happening has grew in such a significant way that this person's defensive about perhaps either losing this. But they're also extremely exhausted. Because I feel like they overrode that part of their brain that's telling them that they can't do something, they're not successful at something. Something happened where there was a lot of doubt and they were like retaliation mode. And they're still fighting the good fight, even though their mind may be telling them otherwise, or their body is literally telling them we need a break. It's like somebody is resisting the urge to give up on something. Somebody has not given up. Even though they may have serious doubts in the past, that didn't stop them. That Knight of Swords was like, nah, I ain't having it. I ain't hearing it. This is what's going to happen. And this person's not willing to give up now. So, the heart of the reading is indicating the Knight of Pentacles. This could be a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. But I kind of get this feeling this is you, Capricorn. You're taking your time. You're putting in real hard work. And you're really investing in your energy for this. You're investing a lot of energy into this. Knight of Pentacles is one of the ones that really works their behinds off. But they're also very slow when it comes to commitment here. Okay? I'm not saying that you're the one that's really slow at committing to someone. But I kind of get this vibe that there is a bit of slowness intentionally. Either could be from you or could be from someone else. Because they're looking at the details. They're looking at what could be possible. What's real. What's in front of them. The Knight of Cups is a dreamer. So somebody's being realistic, extremely realistic in this present. There was an energy in the past year where somebody was very much dreamy, had a lot of ideas, had a lot of dreams, had a lot of thoughts, had a lot of desires. The Knight of Pentacles, that's not a desire to me. That is something that's great in value, that is worth something, That's also really long work. It was really hard work for real results. You know what I mean? So when I see the Knight of Pentacles, I'm not thinking of a dreamer. I'm thinking of someone that's good at calculating, someone that's good at strategizing, someone that's good at organization, getting things in order. While the Knight of Cups, he's all over the place because he's always swimming in his dreams. He's always swimming in how he feels, which can sometimes, which a lot of times changes and gives them the reputation of being inconsistent. So I kind of get the feeling that there's not only slow progress being made, but there's also a lot of work being put into something to make something a reality, maybe a relationship a reality. Somebody could be coming in to offer something of, great value. Somebody may be trying to offer a commitment. And it was a dream in the very beginning. Not necessarily like someone was looking at it as a pipe dream, but it was more like somebody was focused and determined to make that a reality. Somebody was very focused on this being a real thing. Knight of Cups, really focused on their cup, really focusing on their love. This also can indicate this is someone from the past that you've known. Maybe you've had feelings for in the past, but never really acted on them. Or maybe this was a friend that wanted more. Could be an old lover. The whole point of this is that this person is coming in extremely romantic. In the past, there was a lot of romantic energy. And I kind of get this feeling that that romantic energy kind of got too intense. And now you're almost like trying to refine or trying to rediscover your feelings or rediscover what feeling that love is like, because perhaps it was taken in a very practical approach to a practical direction. Because the Nine of Swords is someone that was definitely in a doubtful place. They were very stressed out, very depressed, and it may have been at this time where all they wanted was this one thing, and they couldn't figure out, or they're beating themselves up because they either couldn't get it or so forth. But instead of letting that mindset keep them from not getting it, they worked even harder to make it happen. So the moon is very interesting here. It could be that this situation here, because this is the present energy. I know I read this very past-like, but I kind of also I feel like there's layers that's showing to this. Like, this is all showing us how it was and what the repeat is, okay? Like, this is a repeating cycle. And the reason why I say repeating cycle is because of the Six of Cups right here. It got like someone really wanted something. It got really intense. And now it's about really remembering what someone wanted. Because I feel like it got so intense, it blinded them. It was blinding, this feeling of want, this feeling of desire. It got misconstrued and went kind of like berserk. And it was shut down towards, the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like someone really switched on their Nine of Pentacles. And they now are trying to focus mostly on feeling now because of how they've been. Very logical, very practical. And now they want to feel something again. They want to be in love. They don't want to drown in their feelings, but they want to feel the love. They want to nurture and grow that in a healthy way, and not necessarily in a way that makes them feel like they can't take control. So here we are in the present, in the actual present, because again, I said I'm reading this in layers here. I kind of get this feeling that the moon coming up right now with this is that there is a lot of intense emotions resurfacing. A lot of intense emotions, or a flood of old memories coming in. That's coming in and bring up a lot of old stuff. The insecurities, the Nine of Swords that came up, the doubts, everything like that. The intense feelings and intense emotions. And I feel like the Knight of Cups had a direction. It got it's getting a little confusing here. Maybe a lot of old stuff is coming up, like doubts. A lot of feelings of, uncertainty are arising here. Right? But the situation is that there's no way to know how something's going to be, no matter how much planning that there's done, no matter how much practical looking there is. And I feel like that, understanding this helps, put more faith into the possibility of, sharing love with someone. Maybe this, no longer allowing this shadow period to make you feel like you can't do something, or rather this shadow period is reminding you of a time where you overcame. You maybe either you have or you haven't overcome the shadow stuff, the doubts, the stress, the whatever, the depression. And I feel like the moon is intensifying, coming back in here again, and almost like revealing to you that there's something here. There's something here for you, but you have to trust your emotions, your heart to do it. And it can't be from a way of practical energy, but it's slowly realizing the value of your emotions. So boom, the Page of Cups shows up, and either you express how you feel or someone else expresses how they feel. I'm going to go ahead and actually clarify the moon. Yeah, I'm going to clarify the moon. Why is the moon coming up for Capricorn in their present energy? I feel like, too, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. And it just kind of feels like you're just being bogged down by everything. Alright? You're planning for things, you're working on things, and you're just feeling overloaded. But you're not in any way, shape, or form ready to let it go, because this is something that you're still working on. You're not quite finished with it yet. So why is the moon coming up in the present for Capricorn? Why is the moon coming up in the present for Capricorn's love life? Why is the moon coming up for Capricorn? Why is the moon coming up for the present of Capricorn's love life? Oh, the Eight of Cups. Feeling emotionally drained. So things are getting really overbearing and intense because you're emotionally drained. It's becoming so much of an emotional taxing event that there's not much leisure you can give to this. Why is the Eight of Cups coming up? what is Capricorn's emotionally drained from, or what are they emotionally done with? What is Capricorn's emotionally done with? The Four of Wands. You guys are emotionally done with either moving forward in a relationship or trying to get to a place where things make a little more sense, or are you guys emotionally done with trying to move a relationship up? There's nothing left you can give to a certain situation that really talks about moving forward in your relationships. Wow. And what is the Four of Wands? What are they trying to get to? What are they trying to stabilize? The Ten of Pentacles, commitment. I kind of get the feeling, Capricorn, is that you're not emotionally drained or emotionally done with having a relationship, but there's a lot that you're putting into this, because there's just a lot that you're putting into it, and you're drained. Because this relationship, the Four of Wands, trying to move up to a higher place of commitment, is ultimately your Ten of Pentacles, right? That's where you want to be. That's where you're trying to manifest. And I don't want to say you're obsessed with the idea of getting there, because this is not the Devil card, but it's definitely an intensifying energy. Maybe there's a lot of doubt of maybe you getting burnt out and not wanting to do it anymore, finally giving up. But I don't see that. The Eight of Cups is walking away from a situation. Or it's not walking away. It's more of like being emotionally done. But they're not giving up. So I kind of get this feeling like you have to go in a different direction. Or maybe obviously, you know that you have to go in a different direction. Because the way you're going about it is depleting you of energy. It's completely depleting you. Like you're trying to make it work, but you're also tired of putting in a lot of this emotional stuff into it. Not necessarily because you don't see a return from it, but because how it's being kind of translated is confused. Somebody may not get what you're expressing, so that therefore you're no longer interested in maybe going about this approach to finalizing your relationship. But then you move here with the Page of Cups. And I feel like that's you offering maybe a new way of communicating your feelings. Talk about how you feel. Talk about what you want. I think maybe it got lost here. But I feel like you end up finding it anyway. Or maybe you're going through some sort of shadow period where it's testing your endurance, your patience, your willingness, your dedication to continue to make these dreams a reality. And you come out the other side maybe with a new dream. Perhaps this physical portion of what you want isn't exactly what you want, but is actually an emotional connection. Because you're putting a lot of emotional stuff into something that really actually doesn't make you happy. You want the emotional connection of it. You want the connection. You don't want the physical aspect of it. You don't really care about putting a ring on somebody's finger. You don't really care about moving in together. You don't really care about being in a situation where you're living together and starting to have children. Maybe that's not your focus. Maybe you just want to be happy with the person that you're with. And you want to express that in the highest vibration that you possibly can. And doing everything around that relationship is depleting you because it's not focusing directly on what it is that you want. So therefore it gets confusing on what it is that you truly feel. Even though you know what you want and you start to rediscover that idea all over again. So the Six of Cups is someone that you have a strong connection to. It intensifies because of the moon. This person is reminding you of someone from the past that you really want to, either you want to get connected to, or maybe there's just, the intensity. The moon is bringing up the parts of your life that made you the most happy, and you're emotionally, draining. You're emotionally drained from this situation because perhaps you want this with something. You want this, but it's almost like the person that's, from the past isn't here with you to do it. Ah, yeah. So your best path to follow is the King of Cups. That's not a bad card. Let's talk about following your heart and listening to your emotions and being in love, being that romantic part of yourself that you know you have in there. Right? It's like just let yourself feel, let yourself be. I feel like you've put in a lot of work and you just can't give anymore. I don't think that there's somebody that's, that you're with that either somebody, I'm just going to put it out there, right? Somebody that you're with right now is not really contributing, or they are, it just feels like you're still doing so much and it's draining. It could be that you guys are really trying to make the relationship work. And some of you guys may feel like the person that you truly want to be in a relationship with isn't here. And it's like hard to move forward with something that you feel, so it's hard to feel like moving forward with someone that you're not necessarily in love with. I'm not getting a lot of that either. Even though the Five of Pentacles are showing up, there's a lack of something. And your hopes and fears. Like there's something that's lacking between the connection between you and them. Or this is like, this is a lot of work, man. Like this, you just either like, the Five of Pentacles is lacking in some way. Like you're not feeling like there's enough of something. Enough time to connect emotionally, not a lot of attention being given to the relationship. Something's going on where, there's a lot of struggle. And you have a romantic part of you here, but it's hard to, I feel like, that's the biggest thing is just focusing on what you want, which will, get things solid for you. I don't think anything is wrong though. I kind of just feel like the moon is just a very confusing time for you. And being emotionally drained is a result of that. Trying to figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, maybe. Why is the Six of Cups coming up in the external energy? The Ace of Wands. There's somebody, this is definitely somebody coming back from the past. Either this is a rekindling feelings for someone that you already know with the Knight of Cups here. Like I was saying before, somebody may have come back. Things are getting real confusing. Because maybe somebody definitely was emotionally done with the connection. Even though they were in a really good place. It's almost like maybe the moon was like, it was super confusing. Because that Eight of Cups, that walking away, that feeling of I'm not interested in this, or I can't do this, or because this doesn't represent what I want. Even though there was a Four of Wands, Ten of Cups, somebody either like turned their back to a situation or just kind of completely like unplugged emotionally. Well, either they unplugged because they were drained because of where they were, spiraling down to, and now they kind of they do know what they want. They want what they had, either were emotionally drained from in the past. Whatever really emotionally drained them was the materialistic version of what they wanted versus the actual emotional version that they had, which they never lost anyway. Because this is coming back like this. But yeah, I feel like when I see the Knight before any like the Page or anything younger, I'm like, this is the Benjamin Button effect. Like you've already had these sort of, this sort of feeling. You forgot it for a second, and now it gets brought back. But it's in an innocent form in your future. And I kind of feel like that's what you work so hard on now, to really work on either getting some message to somebody or to communicating to someone or somebody communicating to you. But the Ace of Wands, Six of Cups, that's somebody that's in the past that's rekindling feelings, right? Rekindling old feelings. And it may be that, you're emotionally drained with having to, go for a certain, just change your focus or shift your focus away from it. Something's up, man. I don't really understand. I don't really know. I just know there's a lot of confusion. And no matter how many times, you try to logically figure it out, it doesn't make sense. You just know how you feel. Knowing why you feel it is hard. And it's maybe even prompting you to work harder because you know what it is that you want. Or maybe you don't know what it is that you want since the moon is in the present. The fact of the matter is that there's just a lot of intense feelings, like wanting to just drop everything because you're so tired, but then you're also still wanting to go for something that makes you happy, which is being with this person or recapturing a time in your life, right? Having more fun, enjoying more life, starting new projects, maybe even trying to have children. I kind of get this feeling that maybe the Eight of Cups isn't really you walking away from anything, or maybe even being emotionally drained or done. It's just like you're just ready to give up, it feels like, but you're not ready to give up because there's something you've invested. You worked too hard for something. But then the King of Cups is saying to just feel. Just be. You got one hell of a confusing reading this time, Capricorn. I do apologize if it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, I can only do so much. Wow, you guys are the same card for Sagittarius, surrender and silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. So all this go, go, go energy, all this time of taking action may not be the right time to do it. Oh my God. I hate this thing sometimes because I don't focus. Well, it's alright. But I kind of get this feeling that with the surrender to silence thing, it's like there's not a lot of action that's really needed from you at this moment. It's more of just about understanding what you're feeling, making sense of it, understanding where this intensity is coming from, why it's intense. Doing the soul search. I feel like this, surrender to silence. Surrender to silence card is really the Hermit energy. The King of Pentacles, maybe he's asking you to look within. Right? If you're confused and you don't know, but you want these things and you just don't understand why you don't have enough energy, maybe there's something deeper. And the only way you're going to figure it out is by listening to what is abstract, what is not physical. There we go. So let's go ahead and take a look at your whispers of love. All right. So take a chance in love. When we start to love, our lives are changed forever. Confusion, uncertainty, that's the moon. So if there's hesitation regarding starting something new, it may be because the situation is asking you to work on something, is asking you to work on it with faith. Trust that you love something enough for it to work out. And trust that your love will be at least received. Now, I think the two things, too, is that, taking a chance on love is easy when you don't have expectations. So if there's expectations, I feel like that's still going to be the hardest part for you, right? If you're trying to achieve love and there's expectations with this, then it's going to be harder to make it happen. If you go at it with unconditional love, you don't have to worry about something being a success or not, because what you're trying to convey, what you're trying to give to someone is something that they, that can never be taken away from you or, or whatever, right? So take a chance on love. For me, it's like taking a leap of faith, not really worrying about the consequences of what your feelings are leading you necessarily. Of course, I would always say, of course, if, for any emotions, as long as they're okay and they're not forcing it upon anybody, perfect. But if this is about expressing a message, telling someone that you love them, being open, I feel like doing that in the best way is by showing unconditional love, not having any strings attached.